Peace and blessings in this corner box of 24. What's good, everyone? Hope everyone's doing okay today. My day is going pretty good. I really can't complain. So, it was an interesting weekend with the fights, but that's not what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about a video that I saw that was conducted by Fight Hype. Short interview, or the part that I caught, the segment of it was about 4 minutes and change with Errol Spence Jr., the welterweight champion, who's about to go into the IBF WBC welterweight champion, who's about to go into a unification fight with WBA fighter, welterweight champion, super welterweight champion, Yordenis Ugas, because Butev is also the WBA champion, but they made Ugas the super welterweight champion, which is a little ridiculous, okay? Because there could only be one champion for every division, but that's another story. We're not gonna get into that. So the reason I wanted to talk about Errol Spence is because I listened to the interview, and he was asked a couple of questions, and one of the questions he was asked about how he felt about unifying and becoming undisputed in the welterweight division by fighting Terrence Crawford. And he said that it wasn't that important to him to become undisputed. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not that important. Now, I'm not saying that undisputed is everything in the world, because it's not. A lot of fighters wasn't undisputed. Floyd Mayweather, my favorite fighter, he wasn't undisputed. But there's a reason for that, and there's a reason for other fighters that wasn't undisputed, okay? But we asking you, Errol Spence, why you think it's important or not to be undisputed. And the real question is, I would have came back with, because once he gave the answer to that, I would say, well, how important do you think is to fight Terrence Crawford regardless? See, he wasn't asked that question. It's like nobody don't ask him the hard question. What do you think about fighting Terrence Crawford? Anyway, his answer, he brought up Felix Trinidad and De La Hoya, that they wasn't undisputed. In particularly Felix Trinidad, that's the first name that he dropped. So I said, okay, he talking about Felix Trinidad. No, Felix Trinidad wasn't undisputed at welterweight. He was considered a good fighter, and definitely a great fighter, right? But here's the thing. Felix Trinidad, no, he wasn't undisputed at welterweight, okay? He moved up to 154. After he lost to De La Hoya, he beat De La Hoya in my eyes, but they gave De La Hoya the win, right? He moved up to 154, and he fought David Reed. He fought Mamadou Thiam, and he fought Fernando Vargas, and he got the belt, right? He didn't stay at 154 long, right? I'm saying this for a reason. He didn't stay at 154 long. He didn't become undisputed there either, right? He went to middleweight, and he fought Sharifi, and then he fought William Joppy, and he had his way with them, in particularly Joppy. He had his way with him, and then he ran into a big surprise. I don't know how his team thought they was going to run through Bernard Hopkins. But if he would have beat Bernard Hopkins, right, he would have been undisputed at middleweight in that fight. But it didn't pan out that way. So he was trying to be undisputed. That's my point. So when you talk about Felix Trinidad, make sure you know what you're talking about and just have your fact. Now, I could be wrong and I could be corrected, but I'm just saying Errol Spence made the comment, and then the Fight Hype interviewer said the same thing. Oh, he never was undisputed. Yeah, but the point is, it's a reason why he wasn't undisputed, so we got to talk about that. The reason he wasn't undisputed is because when he moved up to middleweight to fight Bernard Hopkins had 2 belts, he had 1. If he would have beat him, he would have been undisputed, but Bernard Hopkins not only beat him, he dominated Trinidad, he dropped Trinidad in that fight, and he won the fight, right? By TKO. So here's the thing. You bring him up means what? Everybody wants to see you and Terrence Crawford, regardless. Terrence Crawford was undisputed at 140. All right, but the thing is, again, the bottom line is, it is important. It may not be so important for you to become undisputed, but it's important for you to fight Terrence Crawford, because that's a fight for your legacy. And that's the fight that everybody wants to see. So that's why it's important, Errol Spence, and you really need to understand that. Okay? Terrence Crawford beat two people that you beat in a better fashion. Now, styles do make fights, absolutely. But because y'all fought two of the same people, right, and he beat them in a better fashion, that's even more reason that you should be amped up to fight him, to prove like, okay, he beat them in a better fashion, but now me and him are going to fight, and I'm going to show you that that meant nothing. That's how I would be thinking. But I don't know why you're not thinking like that. Okay? So now, the other question he was asked was about Jaron Ennis, and he said Jaron Ennis, was asked, would that be a future fight? He said, I don't know, but Jaron Ennis is talented, he's very talented, he's good, but he got to break through the door. He got to break the door down. You know what I'm saying? He got to bust through the door, basically, he was saying, right? So my thing is this. He said, I had to do it, so he got to do it. But what door did you bust through? I'm still trying to figure that out. Everybody always wants to bring up, he went overseas to fight Kell Brook. Man, listen, let's not do that, man. Kell Brook wasn't no killer. Kell Brook wasn't no great puncher, boxer. Okay? So you beat Kell Brook. Good fight. Even though he gave you a little bit of trouble in that fight, but Kell Brook was not a fighter that you really gonna want to say. We really gonna say now that you did something that was like insurmountable. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. You beat Kell Brook. All right? A decent fighter, a good fighter. Not a Hall of Famer. He's not going into the Hall of Fame. He's not no superstar boxer, all right? And if you don't want to give Terrence Crawford credit for his fight with him, then you can't get credit because Triple G broke his eye sockets first. He damaged him first. So you got damaged goods when you fought him, Errol Spence, just like Terrence Crawford did. But the difference is, though, is that when Terrence Crawford fought him, he had rebounded and he was on a win streak. Okay, so that's the difference. But not even getting into all of that. All I'm saying is you didn't bust through no door, man, because you fought Kell Brook. All right? Your toughest fight was Shawn Porter, and that's the fight that Terrence Crawford had, which he had that fight with Shawn Porter as well, and he dominated him. Y'all fought two of the same people. Only person that's really meant something, that was an ex-champion that y'all didn't fight together, that y'all don't have synonymous, is Danny Garcia. And Danny Garcia can't do nothing with Terrence Crawford. But the whole point of what I'm saying is, Jaron Ennis is going to bust through the door. The question is, are you going to be there? Because he's busting through the door already. He's right at the door. All he needs to do is open it. And when he fights Castillo Clayton, after that, that door is open. So it's going to be on you, Errol Spence, what you want to do. But, you going to stay there and fight Terrence Crawford, or you going to play games and move up to 154? See, so that's on you. That's the hard question. That's what I would have asked him about. But that wasn't asked. But it's all good. Anyway, Errol Spence, do your thing. Looking forward to a good fight on April 16th in Texas Stadium. I don't know how easy that fight's going to be. I don't know, if you're going to dominate Ugas. I mean, no disrespect to Ugas, but you should. He stands right in front of you. He's going to be right there in your face. So, I mean, you should beat him, but you never know. He might have some tricks up his sleeve for you, and he do got the heart. So let's see if you get through that. But if you get through that, man, you should tell your promoters, man. You should tell PBC, Al Haymon, I don't want no other fight but Terrence Crawford, man. Or I'm moving up. And I bet you get that fight. You got to put it on the table like that, okay? If you're not going to say that, man, then just move on up, man, and just forget about it, okay? Take your little 3 belts that you won. Be glad that you won them. But if you don't fight Terrence Crawford, man, your legacy is not going to be what it could be. All right, and that's what you want. See, Felix Trinidad was going after a legacy fight. If he would have beat B-Hop at middleweight on the run that B-Hop was on, and he would have took those 2 belts for B-Hop, man, listen, he would have been on top of the world. But after B-Hop, he was 2-2. Okay, he was 2-2. So that was like the end of his reign. All right. He lost to Winky Wright and he lost to Roy Jones. So he was pretty much done after that. All right. So you want a legacy fight, man, and that's Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. Don't get it twisted. You know what time it is. Your trainer know what time it is, and your people. All right. That's the fight that you need on your record. So that's the fight you should make by any means necessary. I want Terrence Crawford after this Ugas fight, and that's it. I'm not fighting nobody else. That's what you should be putting it down like. Okay, that's how it should be presented. All right? Peace and blessings in this corner box in 24. Anybody have any comments? Anything you want to say? Give it to me. I'm here. Please subscribe to the page in this corner box in 24. Okay, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the criticism, constructive criticism, the criticism, or whatever you bring. We could talk about it. All right? I don't know everything, but I know a few things. All right? So peace and blessings in this corner box in 24.